This is The Issue, and I am the Ghetto Man. Today's issue, Second Amendment, not open for debate. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Saturday, the anti-American, anti-constitutional communist left, you know, that group of people that hates your freedoms, was working overtime to overthrow the Second Amendment and the United States Constitution. A large communist anti-freedom demonstration was held in Washington, D.C., D.C. meaning District of Criminals, for the sole purpose of undermining our constitutional republic. The Democratic left, or should I call it the communist left, demonstrated its traitorous hatred for the Constitution of the United States and did so in full display before all of our countrymen and before the world. The Second Amendment is not open for debate. Our right to defend ourselves, our families, and our country is an inalienable right. Well, what is an inalienable right? An inalienable right is a right so fundamental that it is unconstitutional for any public servant to even suggest creating a law against it, let alone following through with that suggestion. The Second Amendment is part of the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights cannot be amended, period. Congress is forbidden by oath from ever tampering with the Second Amendment. It's an act of treason to even suggest the creation of a law that infringes in any way whatsoever on the right of us, the citizens, the sovereigns, to keep and bear arms. Just talking about gun laws is an act of treason. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments to the supreme law of this land, and the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. The Bill of Rights became part of our Constitution because the rights contained therein are so fundamental to personal freedom that our nation's founding fathers wanted to make sure that the generations to follow would forevermore understand that under no circumstances could these fundamental inalienable rights ever be tampered with. And as I said, not even a constitutional amendment repealing them can stand. All gun laws are unconstitutional, every single one of them. The ATF is unconstitutional. There is no authority under the U.S. Constitution for Congress to pass any gun control legislation or create a bureaucracy to enforce that legislation. It is unconstitutional for Congress to even talk about creating a gun law, let alone passing one. And if Congress does pass an unconstitutional law, no one, and I mean no one, is bound to obey an unconstitutional law, period. Especially a law that tampers with the Bill of Rights. Now I'm going to quote from a Supreme Court case called Marbury versus Madison. It's an 1803 case. Quote, all laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void, unquote. Easy to understand. The only way an inalienable right can be relinquished is through due process of law. No other way. Not by legislation, not by a judicial ruling, and not by the executive giving its point of view. Just talking about gun laws is an act of treason. Gun control advocates are nothing more than domestic enemies. And that's why we need guns, to protect our republic from a domestic enemy, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and cover a few of the amendments that are found in the Bill of Rights. I'm going to start with the Second Amendment. I'm not going to go through all 10. We'll do that at another time, and we'll probably take them one amendment at a time. Well, the Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Well, a well-regulated militia is an armed citizenry that has a set of rules that they have to follow, and they're military rules, and they teach you how to handle your weapon and how to operate in a military-type fashion. Okay, Congress passed a whole set of laws, and I cover those laws in 2 videos on the Second Amendment that I have posted on BitChute. You have to go towards the bottom. They're relatively some of the first ones I posted. But in there, the Congress lays out exactly what the militia has to do, that they have to be organized into units, and they have to have military discipline, and that each militia member between the ages of 18 and 45 have to purchase a weapon with their own funds, and that weapon to be purchased is the same type of weapon that is used in the military of that day. That's how the Congress wrote it. So there was no misunderstanding that as we progress and weaponry develops, that weaponry is to make sure that the weaponry is available to militia members. Okay, the second part talks about the right of the people to keep and bear arms, and it shall not be infringed. Well, militia members are sovereign citizens, and they do purchase their own weapons, and those weapons are their property. They take it home, and they use it not only for military purposes as needed, they also use it to protect their life, liberty, and property at home, and that shall not be infringed. So the militia, which consists of armed citizens, and citizens have the right to keep and bear arms, because not only as part of the militia, but as their private right to protect themselves. And that shall not be infringed. And the word shall not be infringed means that when you have something, you have a right, and you go to the outer edges of fringes, you can't even start just whittling at the edges, which they've done through all of these gun control legislations and laws. They're all unconstitutional, they're all illegal. You see, all political power goes back to the people. It is the people that created the states, and the states created the Constitution. And the Constitution is a contract that is very limited. If it isn't in the Constitution, then the government cannot do that. They can't just assume that, oh, well, it applies to this, or make a ruling that encompasses something that isn't enumerated under the United States Constitution. That's why the 10th and the 9th and the 10th Amendments are so important, because when we go and we read the 9th and 10th Amendment, it clearly lays out how the power flows. Now, the 9th Amendment says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Okay, the only reason that we are governed whatsoever is because of our consent. It's what we consented, no more, no less. And what we gave our consent to is enumerated in the United States Constitution. And if it's not enumerated there, then the United States government doesn't have that power. Now, as we go over to the 10th Amendment, it says the 10th Amendment says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution or prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So once again, if you take a look at the flow of power, it starts with a sovereign citizen. All rights that you have are natural rights. You have these rights because you are a human being on planet Earth. Now, you can either say they were given to you by nature, or you can say that they were given to you by a God, if you have a religious belief that supports them. But either way, these rights are so fundamental that you cannot give them away, and the government, under no circumstances, has the power to even infringe by any type of legislation whatsoever. They can't make regulations for the manufacturers of arms. There's nothing in the Constitution that gives the United States government that power. So, I'm going to say this again. And I mean this, and you really have to understand this. If you don't understand that how the power flows, and that when it comes to you as a citizen, everything that the government passes pursuant to the Constitution, if it does anything at all, it has to expand on the rights that you have, not infringe on them, not even a little bit. So I'm going to say it again. The rights and we're talking about inalienable rights, the rights listed in the Bill of Rights cannot, even by a constitutional amendment, be infringed on in any way. So what I'm saying is even a constitutional amendment is unconstitutional. I am the Ghetto Man. Thank you for watching. If you're politically correct, then you're legally wrong. And if you're not part of the solution, then you are the problem. Please subscribe to my channel. And please share, and long live the Republic.